We are driving too quickly, too angrily.
Fast and ridiculous.
I feel very perturbed.
So we just came out of the unofficial Fast 9 sequel, and or Fast 8 sequel.
Vroom.
Did you know that you can stab someone with a brick mark?
Look, here's the thing, is there are a few very funny moments in this movie, but they don't save the movie. It just makes me kind of wish we were following around Ryan Reynolds, who at this point is pretty much just Deadpool. We were following around Deadpool, Jason Statham's, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Only make Dwayne the Rock Johnson kind of be the quiet one in the background. And
He leans over to me in one action sequence of Jason Statham in his sister's apartment. The plot, you get it from the trailer. His sister ends up stealing a virus. Idris Elba wants it back. He's an enhanced human. He's an enhanced soldier kind of guy. And, you know, Statham and Rock got to team up to stop him. But there's a fight sequence where there's a running joke that we've always had since the movie Safe with Jason Statham, which I loved. I loved Safe. It's basically Jason Statham fucked up your day. And then another joke that came out that was Jason Statham eating Jason Steakums.
After a long day, I've beaten the crap out of people. I want nothing more than to go home and have myself a nice box of Jason Steakums.
And he just leans over to me and goes, Jason Statham fucked up your day with kitchenware.
Because literally, most of the weapons he was using, a shotgun briefly, but then it was frying pan, then cooking pan, then toaster.
It basically hit everyone with everything but the literal kitchen sink.
Give him time.
Look, the movie is exactly what you think it is. You need to understand what the movie is going into it, because otherwise...
Well, here's the problem I have with it. Well, I have several problems with this movie.
I think you have multiple problems.
But one of the big, I wouldn't even say big ones, but one of the key ones is this should not be a Fast and Furious movie.
It's Fast and Furious Presents.
I guess, but dude, it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to have anything to do with that universe, because they barely focus on cars. Yeah, you see freaking Jason Statham driving around in a Milano for a while.
Is that what that car was?
I think it was.
Looked like it was a sports car, I know that.
Oh, yeah, it's one of those very aggressive, very fast sports cars that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson cannot fucking fit in.
Here's the one thing I will say. I'm not going to argue him getting out that fast, but from the brief clips we got of him in the car, he looked like he was hunched over and cramped in there.
Oh, no, I mean...
He couldn't fit in there literally.
They had to change the inside of that car. That's why I think you don't see him from the outside, really, is they had to make some major modifications, because I would have a hard time fitting in that car.
Dwayne Johnson's a good half a foot taller than you are.
He's taller than me.
He's just physically...
He's wider than me.
That's pretty wide, folks.
Bigger than me in general. And I would have a hard time assuming I could fit in there. And fitting him, the girl beside him...
Vanessa Kirby.
And Jason Statham? No. Jason Statham, he might fit in there and be okay. The girl might fit in there and be okay.
She probably had the easiest time. She was the skinniest of them.
But
look, the movie is dumb fun. If you can get behind that idea, you will enjoy. It's a summer. This is the legitimate definition of a summer popcorn flick. You just go in. Hear me out. You go in there and Avengers is a Avengers was an event. Let me try a different way. John Wick was a popcorn film. This is in the same vein of that, but John Wick's a far better movie. I'm not arguing that at all. Not the same type of movie, but in the sense that anyone who's a fan of like a dumb action film where you get plenty of one-liners, likable characters, that's stuff that popcorn in your mouth kind of film.
Is they do that a bit, but then they keep pulling the freaking parachute. They keep hitting the brakes.
Literally.
And it just doesn't work. Like, what they needed was Commando. But instead of going all the way and having a cool, witty action movie where you get Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham going back and forth all the time, you know, just kind of bickering.
Instead, the best part of the movie is
having like it wasn't bad, but you could tell Jason Statham could run laps around Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, he could. Absolutely.
Dwayne Johnson's thing has never been his being witty. It's always been he could sit there and trash talk.
That's it. He's very charismatic, but witty is not something he necessarily has portrayed very well. Whereas Jason Statham is a witty. Whereas Dwayne Rock Johnson throws insults at. He throws a couple of really funny ones at him.
It's like the Flash and the Incredible Hulk. Both will get the job done,
just in different ways.
But
I mean, I could completely see where you're coming from with that. I didn't have as big an issue with it because I'm able to just kind of enjoy myself.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm enjoying what's just happening in front of me.
Oh no, I was able to do that.
And don't get me wrong, I'm even like in the finale, and you see a bit of this in the trailer where they're on a cliff and they all fall down the fucking cliff. I'm like, dead, except Idris Elba, who we've established as a super soldier, but everyone else dead.
Oh no. I need to say right now, throughout most of the movie, I was forcing myself to just be like, you know what? Just go with it.
Enjoy it for what it is.
When it first started, and for a while, it was pretty much me sitting there being like, no. Just, what? I'm sorry, what the fuck?
I'm trying to remember some of the really big ones.
The vehicle designs for the villains, most of them were shit. I'm sorry, I don't like the line of LEDs in like a straight line.
Oh.
They're kind of yellowish. And then the fucking motorcycle, I'm sorry, but any real world motorcycle, like, I'm sure they can design one to look like that, but to have it be able to do the thing that this does, it can't do it fast enough, or it's not practical, or whatever.
Oh,
I don't see the point.
Now, well, I understand the bike that Idris Elba's using, which has a whole bunch of extra ability, like it can drive itself, which that seems. I can understand how that could work because you got self-driving cars these days.
Yeah, but the problem with self-driving cars is they're not really working.
But again, you're also talking about a movie where Idris Elba has a carry-out or.
Nope, it is 10:15.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, alarm on my phone.
You're also dealing with a movie where, what's the best? I'm gonna use this term, and understand when I use this term, I don't really mean it, but it's a realistic super soldier, I suppose you could say.
Oh, wow! You were leading up to that, and like the white person. Now I'm not racist, but
this N-word. I was not about to say that.
Jesus. Anyway,
no, a realistic interpretation of the super. The eyes, I don't understand how the fucking eyes worked at all.
Oh no! See, here was one of the worst problems I had, where I was looked at like, look, I know the other movies have been a bit ridiculous. Like, yeah, it's kind of silly that we're gonna get some like street racer dude who's really good at drifting to go fight a submarine on the ice. I think that's a bit dumb. But whatever, sure, I'll accept it. I'll go with it. Or the guy driving down the side of the building. Whatever. Yeah, sure. Let's go with it. It's realistic in the sense of, like, hardcore, like, adrenaline jockey, like, whoa, but it's still taking place in a real world. Idris Elba, his character, throws that right the fuck out the window.
Yeah, but here's the thing about that, and let me
he has a heads-up display in his eyes.
Yeah.
He is able to slow down time and be like,
his perception
threat
is
imminent.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's got it slow. He can perceive things at a quicker pace. Is what that is essentially. It's the fact that he sees faster than that, which his brain just interprets it. He's got a metal spine, which I'm guessing he had an accident at some point, and that's what. Because they explain his history.
No, that's an upgrade.
Is it?
Yeah, no.
Oh.
That's an upgrade. That's what they keep doing to him, is they keep upgrading parts of him. That's also probably why the eyes were replaced.
Well, he had those in the very beginning. That's the part you miss, is that when he first showed up, he actually had that in the very beginning.
Yeah, no, that tells me his eyes were actually replaced at some point with some cybernetic eyes.
Well, they also said he got shot in the head. Like, Deckard had put a bullet in his head at one point. So,
He also has a cyber brain.
Let's be honest, maybe not the entire fucking thing, but part of it at least. Look, they've jumped the shark so many times in this series, because this is part of the universe.
The shark is tired of being jumped. It's just left. So now they're just stalking the shark as the shark goes on holiday.
But again, if you can get behind the absurdity of this film, it's a fun time. A lot of the early action sequences are pretty good, but you made a good point. Afterwards, it just kind of feels like rinse and repeat. It's just kind of this is fine, but
you can't follow it closely.
Oh God,
it loses a lot.
That fucking finale.
It loses a lot of its luster.
Yeah.
They're just not as good, and you're sitting there like, oh, okay, they threw a guy.
I have no idea whose decision it was to edit the finale. It's the fight you see on the island with his brothers, and you know the traditional like Polynesian. Well, Samoan is Polynesian, right? I can't recall. I want to say it's Polynesian. I want to say yes. Like the fight he saw with the weapons and chanting, and I'm thinking, all right, this is gonna be dumb but awesome.
See, part of the problem is,
You want to say yes,
but it might be different.
All right, well, either way.
Also, because the same thing of, I think Samoa and Maori are different.
Possible then.
But they all have very similar cultures in a lot of ways. It's kind of like comparing, say, the Welsh, the Scottish, and the Irish. Is if you compare them to someone's face, you'll get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
But to your unknowing person, they can all seem very similar.
Yeah, but so I'm like, okay, this is gonna be absurd but awesome, and I don't know whose decision it was to edit that, but they need to be fired, because we couldn't make out a freaking thing going on in that
I'm pretty
fight.
sure I know what was going on. Because the same thing they did in Hunger Games, if you remember, all of those years ago. It's covering up for the fact that the shots themselves weren't the greatest, and they needed to add more intensity because the actual fights were not that great.
Probably, but
Because
there's
you
a
had
way
too
to
many
do
people.
that better than what they did. I guess the person they had to do it just wasn't the best at it.